The upcoming U.S. presidential election is not just a turning point for the United States, but for the entire world. While it may seem like a national election, the global consequences of the U.S. election reverberate far and wide. However, calling the 2024 election a defining moment might not be an exaggeration. Some experts even suggest that, depending on the outcome of the election on November 5th, the U.S. could face a crisis as severe as civil war. The country's social fabric is at risk of tearing, with polarization running deep and the potential for drastic changes on the horizon. The candidates: Trump versus Harris. In this election, we have two key candidates. On one side is Donald Trump, the Republican candidate. On the other side is Kamala Harris, the Democratic candidate, who is currently the Vice President of the United States. Harris, who is of both Indian and black descent, stepped into the race after President Joe Biden withdrew from the race just a couple of months ago due to health concerns, including signs of dementia. This late withdrawal meant that Harris didn't have much time to prepare for the campaign, which left a gap in momentum. After Biden's exit, the gap in the polls narrowed rapidly. While Harris currently leads in some polls by a margin of 1 or 2 points, many experts believe the race is far from over. In the U.S. election system, the winner is determined by key swing states like Pennsylvania and Michigan, which often decide the presidency. Both candidates are fighting hard to win over voters in these crucial battlegrounds. Harris or Trump? Is there really a big difference? The outcome of this race remains highly uncertain. Kamala Harris, though a competent figure, is often viewed as too reserved or boring by critics. She has struggled to generate the excitement needed to pull ahead significantly, even when faced with Trump's vulnerabilities. That said, many political analysts believe that if Michelle Obama had run, the dynamics of the race might have been dramatically different. But that is something we will never know. So, what happens if Harris wins? What happens if Trump wins? While U.S. elections are often perceived as not resulting in major changes regardless of the winner, this time the stakes seem higher. Although power in the U.S. is distributed among states, local governments, and various institutions, strong leaders can expand presidential powers, as Trump did during his previous term. Trump and the shift in the Republican Party. Trump represents a shift away from traditional Republican values. Over the last 20 to 30 years, the Republican Party has been transformed by radical movements like the Tea Party, and Trump has become the embodiment of this new wave. Yet, in Turkey and many other countries, people still tend to underestimate Trump, viewing him as a crazy figure. However, Trump has already proven that he can effectively use the powers of the presidency, and this time he's coming back with even more determination. Trump's policies have struck a chord with the most radical evangelical and white nationalist factions in the U.S. If Trump wins, it's not just his brash business persona that we'll encounter. There's a serious risk of white nationalism and religious extremism rising to new heights. Trump's economic vision: an isolationist America. Trump is well known for his pro-wealthy economic policies. He favors an isolationist approach, famously stating, "I don't want Chinese goods, I don't want European goods, I don't want foreign products." His goal is to raise tariffs and shut down foreign trade to make America great again. Should he succeed in raising tariffs, one of the first consequences will likely be soaring inflation within the U.S. Trump, however, remains confident. "I'm a businessman, I know how to handle this." He is also unafraid to threaten companies. If you move your factories to Mexico, you won't be able to sell your goods back into America. This stance has already alarmed major exporters like Germany. Even the slightest increase in tariffs could severely damage the German economy, which is already struggling with trade challenges in China. If Trump's policies cut off access to U.S. markets, countries like Germany could face significant economic crises. Foreign policy and security. NATO at risk? Trump views NATO as a burden, claiming, "We're carrying NATO on our backs, paying for everything while Europeans do nothing." This is deeply concerning for European countries. If Trump is re-elected, it's possible that the U.S. could withdraw from NATO or render it ineffective. In the meantime, Trump's isolationist foreign policy approach might force European countries to increase their defense spending. When it comes to the Ukraine war, Trump might push for a quick resolution by ceding territory to Russia. Trump and the Middle East, a darker period ahead? If Trump is re-elected, the Middle East could face increased instability. Trump, a staunch ally of Israel, would likely increase pressure on Iran and support Netanyahu's hardline policies. Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, could once again play a central role in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, advocating for settlements and further entrenching Israeli interests in the region. What's at stake for the world? Trump's re-election would send shockwaves far beyond the U.S. borders. His policies would likely spark a resurgence of far-right nationalism, anti-immigrant sentiment, and Islamophobia, not just in America but across Europe. The 2024 U.S. presidential election has the potential to upend the global order. This is not just an American election, it's a global one. Whatever the outcome, the world must pay attention. This election has the power to reshape the global landscape, and Trump's return to power could send us in an entirely new and unpredictable direction. We'll delve into this topic in more detail in future discussions, but for now, let's wait and see. Thank you for watching, and I welcome your comments and insights. Thanks for watching.